Okay, some people have different impressions on absolute judicial immunity. Okay, absolute judicial immunity is a legal doctrine that protects judges from civil lawsuits for action taken while performing official judicial duties. It's absolute, meaning judges are immune from monetary damages even if their decisions are alleged to be malicious, corrupt, or erroneous. The doctrine serves to protect the independence of the judiciary and prevent mediation by unsatisfied litigants. Instead of suing judges, a party harmed by legal error must use appellate system and seek reversal of the judgment. However, absolute immunity is not limited and does not apply in two primary situations: non-judicial acts. The immunity only covers action taken in a judge's judicial capacity. It does not extend to administrative, legislative, executive tasks, or such as employment or supervisory decisions. Clear abuse of jurisdiction. A judge is not immune if they act in the clear absence of jurisdiction. This means acting entirely without subject matter authority, e.g., a probate judge trying a criminal case. However, acting in excess of their jurisdiction is still covered by immunity. Additionally, absolute immunity only shields judges from civil liability. It does not protect them from criminal prosecution if they commit a crime, nor does it typically bar individuals from seeking injunctive or declaratory relief, e.g., court order to stop a specific policy. Though the functional approach, this immunity often extends to quasi-jurisdictional officials who perform their tasks tied to judicial process. This frequently includes jurors, grand jurors, and parole officers performing judiciary or court-mandated functions. Okay, so they don't have exactly absolute immunity, only in civil procedures. But let me ask you this. Okay, we're going to go back here. I always use this because it's where is it? Overview. Here it is. Keep taking you back to this, but this is very important. The legal profession's relative autonomy carries it with special responsibility to self-government. The profession has a responsibility to ensure that its regulations are conceived in the public interest, not in furtherance of parochial or self-interest concerns of the bar. So, absolute immunity is in self-interest concerns of the bar. Every lawyer is responsible for observance of the rules of professional conduct. A lawyer should know also aiding and securing their observance by lawyers. Neglect of these responsibilities compromises the independence of the profession and the public interest which it serves. So absolute immunity was self-concerned interests of the bar, not in the public interest, thus under the color of law. You know, because if and it's easy to prove that the judge didn't do his job. They're depriving you of your constitutional right. The Code of Judicial Conduct is ethical standards and rules. Judges and judicial conduct is designated to ensure independence, impartiality, integrity. Most states, including Illinois, base their rules on American Bar Association model rules of professional conduct. The code is typically derived from overreaching categories known as canons. Canon 1, upholding the integrity and independence of the judiciary, avoiding impropriety and the appearance of impropriety in all activities, while on the bench and in private life, performing the duties of judicial office impartially, competently, and diligently. This includes strict rules against bias, ex parte communications, one-sided discussions outside of the court, and requirements, disqualification when a conflict of interest exists. Canon 4, regulating personal and extrajudicial activities to minimize the risk of conflict of judicial duties. Canon 5, refraining from inappropriate political or campaign activity. Judges are required to be apolitical. They can't take sides. For local applicability, judges serving in this. Okay, so. And it's easy to prove the judges don't do their job. All you have to do is go through the Code of Judicial Conduct. There's your ammunition there. There's a lot of stuff they do that they shouldn't be doing, and it tells you right here. It's not that much, okay? Canon 1. Okay, I want to go to Canon 2. Okay, impartiality and fairness, yeah. Bias, prejudice, and harassment. Ensuring the right to be heard, they denied me that. And see, this is the one I always talk about. Judge having knowledge that another judge has committed violation of the code that raises a substantial question, neglecting a judge's honesty, trustworthiness, or fitness as a judge in other respects shall inform the proper authority. A judge having knowledge that a lawyer has committed a violation of the rule of professional conduct that raises a substantial question regarding a lawyer's honesty, trustworthiness, or fairness as a lawyer in other respects shall inform the proper authorities. And nobody's doing that, and you know that because if you went over the rules of professional conduct, you'll know your lawyer is not doing that. And that's misconduct, and it's the judge's duty to report that misconduct, but the judge isn't doing that, so that's misconduct. You know, because mandatory to report misconduct in the Code of Judicial Conduct and the rules of professional conduct, and all you need are rules and the codes to prove both sides, all sides, aren't doing their job. Okay, so that absolute immunity doesn't apply when they knowingly, willingly, and intentionally violate the oath by not living up to the requirements of that oath specified in the Model Code of Judicial Conduct and the Rules of Professional Conduct. Okay, so they're combined. They're symbiotic. They live off each other. They live together. You know, you can't violate the codes without violating the rules. You can't violate the rules without violating the codes. You can't violate just one code of conduct because you wind up violating multiple. Can't violate one rule, professional conduct, because you wind up violating multiple. Nobody's bringing up charges for violating giving presidents a duty, judicial office. They didn't do that. Impartiality and fairness, they didn't report your lawyer. So they're not being impartial or fair. They're showing bias and prejudice, you know, towards you by you know, favoring your attorneys. And I mean, their attorneys literally being defective, destructive assistants of counsel by not abiding by the rules of professional conduct. External influences on judicial misconduct, well, that's from the beginning, so you know it's a conspiracy against rights under the code of law. Competence, diligence, and cooperation. I mean, they're not being competent if they're not being diligent in reporting that misconduct, ensuring the right to be heard. Judges don't do that. Talk to your lawyer and have your lawyer talk to me. That happens to me no matter what court I've been in. Decorum and demeanor in communications with jurors, ex parte communications, that happens all the time. The lawyer I just talked to for eviction court, he said that I had this evidence that they're not doing what they're supposed to do legally. He said, "Oh, call the judge or talk to the judge," and the judge isn't going to allow me to present that because I filed for an appearance and I filed for a jury trial. and I filed a waiver of fees because I can't afford it, the court costs. Okay, so then, you're going to have to go to Canon 1. The preamble, you can use almost the entirety against them. Compliance with the law, well, they're not doing that because I just showed you. Promoting confidence in judiciary, well, not reporting your lawyer and the opposing party for violating the rules, how is that promoting confidence in judiciary? Avoiding prestige of the judicial office. Well, they didn't do that when siding with your attorney, did they? Canon 2, we went over. Canon 3, a judge conduct and the judge's personal and extrajudicial. Okay, so let's go there. Judge shall conduct personal and extrajudicial duties to minimize the risks of conflict with interest. Appearance, use of non-public information, they do that all the time. Affiliation with discriminatory organizations. Okay. See, so over here see how they say they got conservative judges and liberal judges are political. They're literally bragging about their political allegiances. How could that be when they're supposed to be apolitical? But anyways, go through the preamble. They didn't do that. An independent, fair, and impartial judiciary is indispensable to our system of justice. So, just, my God, they don't do any of this. Intentionally, knowingly, and willingly deprive you of your rights. There's a lot of rights that they're violating here. Okay. So people, it's not that hard to understand, okay? Okay. So absolute judicial immunity. Not in the public interest, in the interests, self-interest concerns of the bar, thus under the color of law. They'll always do what they can do to protect themselves from you and the wrongs they do to you intentionally, knowingly, and willingly. Thank you. Good night. May your Creator always be with you and rain many blessings. I wish you a long life and good health.